Welcome everyone. This is a webinar from Main Street America along with our partners at Google My Business. We're here today to talk about connecting with customers as you manage your business remotely. Before we get started today, I want to also make sure that everyone here understands how to participate in our program and understand the control panel you have on your screen. So keep in mind, you are in listen only mode. You are automatically muted. You can change the audio functionality from phone to computer or vice versa under the audio control panel on your screen. We welcome you to type in your questions at any time in the program. I will be here facilitating any needed immediate responses relative to technology or any solutions that I can provide during the program. But our presenter, Maria Duran, will be able to answer questions at the end of the program as we move to a Q&A section. If we're not able to answer all of your questions during the program, we do welcome your follow-up always around any issue that you want to bring up relative to COVID-19 and the vitality of your Main Street program to mainstreet@savingplaces.org. If there are specific questions for our Google partners, we'll make sure that those are forwarded and addressed. But otherwise, we're always happy to be here and be helpful to you throughout the crisis. So I just want to also mention the Main Street America COVID-19 Resource Center. Certainly, if you're here with us today, you probably access the information about the webinar through our Resource Center. We're constantly updating this, and shortly we're going to transition some of this content and material to be more focused on recovery. So we do want you to stay with us and pay attention and always be sending us your best practice examples from your communities as we continue to deal with the current crisis. Now I am going to turn over our presentation to Maria Duran, who is a Grow with Google trainer, getting around the country typically, but today via webinar and in the near future via webinar to support small businesses. So I'll allow Maria to introduce herself and talk about her background in small business a bit more, and we'll get Maria's presentation up.
All right. Welcome to everybody. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad to see everybody here. And I just want to say a quick welcome. So there I am. I'm from my home office in Midland, Texas, and I am one of the professional trainers with the Grow with Google program. So I'm excited to be here. I am coming absolutely from the seat that most of the businesses that you serve and that you represent actually work from. I'm a small business owner, have that experience from start to finish. So all the way from ideation to franchise taxes and succession plans. I've had that experience, plus again, coming from that background because even in my childhood, so I'm an Air Force brat and I've lived all over the world. But I've also had the great opportunity that when Dad went into private practice, he had his own business. And then, of course, Mom had a children's bookstore. So I grew up with small business. I definitely have a passion for it. And I'm excited to be here today. A lot of the things that I'm going to be sharing here with you today are things that you can take and apply to even what you're doing on a daily basis, but also how you can help the small businesses that right now are trying to recover and trying to move forward from the crisis. As we go into the new normal, we know that being able to connect and be able to do that quickly and seamlessly will be very helpful for everyone. So let's go ahead and dive in. There are two parts of this presentation, and this is the only part that you're really going to see me because I don't want this to get glitchy for any reason. And sometimes that happens when you are showing a slide deck as well as also presenting a video. So I'm going to turn this off, but I did want to say hello. I'm going to be here the whole time. This is absolutely me live, but I do want to let you know there are two parts of this program that I will be covering with you. And the first part is actually the Grow with Google program. So let's get started in here, and I want to make sure you see the screen. All right, we are good to go. And there we go. So the first part of this is talking about the Grow with Google programs. The Grow with Google Partner Program is what brought this here to you today. Main Street is a member and a partner with Grow with Google, and because of that, there are lots of resources that you have available to you, and I want to make sure you have access and understand the resources that are there first before we jump in, because that will be critical for you to be able to assist small businesses. So to start off with the program, it's important for you to know that the program is a little bit about the what of how and why we help people in growing their skills and careers by offering these free tools and training. The Grow with Google program is aimed to help everyone across America. So we help the workforce for today, to students, to small businesses, and everyone in between to make sure that they have the skills, careers, and the tools that they need to be able to grow and develop themselves. So we couldn't do this, of course, alone at all. So we're very excited, Kelly, to be here with Main Street. And there's a number of initiatives that we do focus on in touching all parts of the country. So there's even a state tour, which is known as the Library Tour, which I have been active and involved with a few of those here in the South. So I'm actually housed in Midland, Texas. So I'm broadcasting from my home in Midland, Texas. And I did see that trending was Jessica, baby Jessica. So if you remember baby Jessica in the well, this is where it happened. Baby Jessica actually lives here. So that kind of helps give you a perspective of where I am on the map in the United States. But you will see that we really do get involved and bring the curriculum and the training through our partners. You can see who some of those partners are. So our core audiences are job seekers and students, and then also small businesses, which is the core of who, of course, you serve. You can see some of the wide range of partners from big to small here as you're looking at the list. And some of the benefits of partnership, of course, are these resources. Today, the slide deck and the slide presentation that I'm sharing with you is in our Google Partner community. So you have access to that. The same ones that I'm using, you have access to, as well as getting started guides, some outreach materials. We even have trainer hours in there, which will help you if you're learning how to present and utilize the tools that we have in there, so you can make sure that you present this to your community. And our trainings and materials can be used to deliver in-person trainings, or for you to also do those webinars and virtual meetings. We do provide that workshop support that you see, and then you also have a direct line to the Google team. So in the partner community, there is just so many resources. I encourage people, when they go into the partner community, the first thing to do is look at the 7 tabs at the very top when you log into the community. And if you'll look there and look at the overview, it'll take you to the page where you see 7 subheadings that will take you all the way through, looking at even video presentations of how people do things, or how this affects people, or some of the common questions. And at the very bottom right-hand corner, you'll see the ability to even ask questions of the Google team, which they're normally there manning that chat between 12 and 2 o'clock Eastern time. So you can look there, and there's a discussion board that will also help you cover some of the main questions that your peers also are running into. So how you can actually go and share these resources. In fact, this is the training material that I was talking about when I was mentioning the going and looking at the subheadings under the overview. This is actually through the Grow with Google program. So it's a one-stop shop for you to have all the training materials you need. You don't have to worry about creating a slide deck or guides or even a handout, the handout that Kelly, that you see today here, and that you see the slide provided and that Kelly has. You have all of these resources available to you. So it's really nice to have that access depending on what the needs are of the community that you service. So again, you have workshop presentations. It's wonderful because you also have registration solutions. You don't have to worry about trying to create a registration spot for things. Plus you have all the promotional materials you have. You know, that swag that we often talk about, that is accessible to you right there within the community. So I do encourage you, if you've not spent any time, it's a great resource. You can do, as I said, self-facilitated, where you're using the slides and the speaker notes. So at the bottom of every slide, there are speaker notes that can help you walk you through this. And I will tell you, even as a professional trainer, I utilize those speaker notes to give me the opportunity to make sure that I'm not getting too excited and missing something that is important to the audience. So it's wonderful for you to do, and do not feel bad that you're reading speaker notes at first. That'll help you learn the material, and it does ensure to your community that you've covered all your bases. Plus, you can also jump in on live stream. You can either live stream yourself, or you can jump into the live streams that we have quarterly, and there's lots of trainer supported material within the community. So it truly is, to me, a wealth of information. And I wish I had known about this well before I was ever on the Google team, because it's such a resource. So please don't waste it. You can apply at g.co/grow/Main Street. So that's g.co/grow/Main Street. And that again is to me such a nugget that you can take away and access. So if you have any questions, feel free to use the chat. If we were in person with each other, I would be talking to you and finding out a little bit more about you. And I've had the wonderful blessing of really getting to work with some of the Main Street organizations throughout Texas and New Mexico. So if you're in here, I'd love to see a shout out in the chat that you're in here. We're going to launch into today's topic, which is the second part. But if you have any questions about the Grow with Google program and the Grow Google Partner Program, feel free to ask those questions in the chat. So let's talk now and shift gears in connecting with customers to be able to manage your business remotely, because we are definitely in the area of where we are all online. The entire world went online all at the same time, didn't we? With the pandemic and the crisis, this is what we see happening. So it's important for you to be prepared. If you do see something that really excites you today that you want to share out with everyone, feel free to use the hashtag #GrowWithGoogle. Not only will it be something that your network can take advantage of and apply right away, because again, things that I will share here today are not just for the businesses that you serve. It'll help you personally, but then you can also share it out with your friends, and the Grow with Google team will know that Main Street is here and they're excited to be able to have this information to share with the businesses they serve. Plus, you can go to grow.google/remote work to be able to access even other tools to help you, again, get better at being able to connect remotely. So we're going to talk about first updating critical business information, because that's important to make sure that things now are ever changing. In the state of Texas alone, we've had 2 phases of opening up right now. We opened up some of the places, and then there was a second opening up that happened this Friday. So things are changing, and it's important for the businesses that you serve to take a good look at their information that they have online and to make sure that it is up to date and that it is current with the changes. We'll also talk about how they can communicate with customers and employees remotely. For some people, this is their first time. This last month has been their first, or month and a half has been their first experience actually connecting with people and utilizing online tools and downloading apps that they've never even knew existed. So we'll talk a little bit about the tools, especially Google Meet. I'm such a fan, and it's one of my favorite tools, and I'll explain to you in a little while why. But of course, Gmail too is one of my favorite tools. There's so many that are my favorite. It might be one of the reasons I'm on the team, right? So of course, then you can also access your files from anywhere, and that is what I like. No longer do you have to worry about, do you have version 1 or do I have version 1? Who has this? And then the next step, of course, as far as the resources that you can provide to businesses. So again, even though I'm talking to you and training you from the standpoint of how the small businesses you serve can use this, you yourself, either in what you're doing as a representative of Main Street, but also as just a person, an individual, can utilize this to be able to help better yourself, to be able to connect with people and work remotely. Now, for all of this, you do need a Google account. That is very important to have. If you have a Gmail account, you're golden. You're there. All you need to do is bring up another tab and refresh it. It remembers your credentials and you're in. But if you do not have a Google account, that is not to worry, because it is easy for you to get a free Google account and you do not have to convert it to Gmail. So you can let people that you serve know about this, because a lot of times that's the misconception, is that you have to have a Gmail account. If you'll let them know you don't have to have a Gmail account, what you would do is you would go to this website and you would actually sign up for a Google account. They would utilize their own email address, so whatever that is, it does not convert it, come up with a password, and just like you would any other password protected site, you would use your email and the password you've created to access all of the free tools to you. So one of the things that I talked about is updating that critical business information, because now it's ever changing and it is definitely not a time to set it and forget it. So here are some things to remember and places that you need to look at for updates. Especially cover this with your businesses, because they've got so much on their mind, trying to juggle their butcher, baker, and candlestick maker in their business, and now they have to manage this. They may have forgotten something or just overlooked it, but it would be a good reminder and helpful to them if you could make sure that, have you updated your Google My Business, your Google Ads? What about your website? So let's take a look a little bit deeper. When I look at Google My Business is a Google My Business profile. This is a 100% free tool available to all small businesses. So that's really key. A lot of times people will know it as a profile or a listing. Often, whenever I am at the front of the room, I'll get asked the question about why Google keeps calling about my listing or profile. And do know that is not Google calling. Those are unscrupulous marketers who will, for $1.99, $2.99, $4.99 a month, will sell the profile when the profile itself is 100% free. There's so many pieces to it that are free. I mean, everything in there. So I'm going to cover some of that today. But most importantly, I'm going to cover is the fact that you need to update, and they, as far as businesses, need to update their business critical information. So it could be that they need to update their business information. You know, I was working with a credit union and their lobbies closed. So they needed to update their business description to make sure that people were aware that the lobby was not available. Even though originally in their description it says, wow, you know, we welcome you with smiling faces, hot coffee and donuts in our lobby. That needed to be changed. That wasn't happening right now. Their hours of operation also had changed. You think about it for a moment. If you look at over here in the photo of the mobile phone, you see the cover photo of a Google My Business profile. And you see with Honest Soul Yoga, they may have updated hours and special hours, especially if they're trying to comply with the social distancing rules and the ability to make sure that they have enough sanitation, hand sanitation for everyone. That is absolutely changed. And also you can publish posts to let them know this is how we're doing curbside delivery. Let your businesses know that they do need to let people know, you know what, we are not letting people in the main building. You can line up, but we have markers on the concrete or the walkway that show that you are 6 feet apart, practicing that good social distancing. Plus, they can turn on messaging. Now, there's a whole webinar, just so that you know, when you go in the Google Partner community, there's a whole workshop on getting your business, your local business, on Google Search and Maps, and it covers in depth the Google My Business profile. I'm just hitting the high points right now that you can make sure that your small businesses are paying attention to and updating to stay on top of their communication with their customers during the crisis. So they can turn on messaging, which is the ability for people to text message you from the Google My Business app in their phone. They don't see your mobile phone number, or they don't see the business's mobile phone number. Plus, they can share that with everyone at the store or the office to help them feel engaged too. A lot of times our remote teams, especially employees who are used to being customer facing, may feel disconnected and may be looking for that human touch. And this is a way that they can get that, plus still feel like they're contributing to a business. You can also add managers. So I encourage this, especially with any small business I talk to. Do not give away your Google or your Gmail password, because doing that basically gives away the keys to the kingdom. You are seen equal in Google's eyes as an owner. And so a lot of things that they can do is add managers to help. Add people at different roles instead of giving your password away. For example, there is the owner of the account, which is the primary owner, normally the person with the Google account or the Gmail account. But then you have an owner who can basically do what you can do except shut you down and shut you out, which is important to convey to businesses. Or I like to encourage businesses to select the role of manager. And that means they can't shut you down, shut you out, and they can't bring in random people in to be able to access your Google account, which is really important. And there might be a time where they need to mark their business temporarily closed. Maybe they're going through some stringent cleaning right now, or maybe in their state and city, they're actually phasing in opening, but they might have a challenge with access to cleaning supplies, which a lot of businesses, we see that happening to. So they need to mark themselves temporarily closed, even though the community may be opening up. They themselves may not be ready with the guidelines that are required. So if you'll go to google.com/business, you'll be able to see what it takes to be able to create a new business profile. And as I said, in the community, there's an entire presentation and web deck there. The important thing is to make sure those that you serve are updating their business description to reflect the changes. So you can see here, you can utilize this wording perfectly. I would go in the community just to download the slide deck and be able to use that wording and send it out. But of course, I know Main Street, you have a wonderful Healthy COVID-19 Resource Center online. You also have wording there as well. This is just another option. And then, of course, if you have special hours, you can go in there and show businesses exactly how they can change hours if they have limited times. And or as I said, if you do have to mark it closed, you can. Now you might have highlights. For example, there might be different ways that you're doing business. Maybe it's only one person who's at that business. So as you look out to your businesses that you serve, if you see them making some remarkable changes in the way that they're actually serving and providing their product or service to their customers, then you can share with them that it's a good idea to post those highlights. We as people, especially now when everything is unknown, like to know what we're walking into, especially if you're out there and braving, maybe putting a mask on, putting some gloves on, and you're wanting to get something. They like to know what to expect. And no one wants to drive up to a business and find it closed, especially if the hours of operation say that it's open, because they're not mad at Google when that happens. They're mad at the business. So you can help your businesses from somebody getting upset with them or feeling that they've just abandoned them. This is a great way too for them to still feel connected to what they're doing for their community and to their business. You can share what's new. They absolutely can put things like, you know what, we're doing some gift certificate sales, so that can help for later afterwards when we're all ready for a massage or a new lotion. You can share that as a gift. Or they can also plan an event. A lot of people are doing online scavenger hunts or online promotions where they have a special offer. You can do that too. So that, you know, the COVID-19, as far as there's a section of the Google My Business post where you can put COVID-19 related material and updates that specifically mark COVID-19, as I showed you earlier. And when you do that, that is actually up and live for 28 days. Most of the time when you do a post within Google My Business, it's live or published for 7 days, and then you need to replace it. So I would share that with businesses too. But when you do events or offers, that is live till the event takes place or the offer actually expires. So keep that in mind and share that with them, because a lot of businesses don't know that. Of course, I talked to you about messaging. Messaging is important, and if you use the Google My Business app with either Android or iOS, which is iPhone, then that is where I mentioned that you can share and message back and forth to a customer without them seeing your mobile phone or your cell phone number, and you can do that and share that with your entire team. It really is a wonderful tool, and I encourage businesses to turn this on if they want to have that in immediate contact with their customers. If you're not used to messaging, then be careful with it, because people do expect immediate response when they message. And this is what I was talking about earlier when I said manage users. You have the opportunity to manage those users and to make sure that you select a user like we see here on the right. On that phone, you'll see that you could select owner or you can select manager. But I highly encourage people to use manager, because it gives them basically everything that you as the primary owner can do, except that, as I said earlier, shut you down, shut you out, or add additional people without your permission. So please share that with businesses. Of course, in the info area, that is where I mentioned you can be marked as temporarily closed. So make sure businesses know how to find that. A lot of times they've not seen the back office of their Google My Business, especially if they're not using it actively. They used it to make sure that they were there and on the map, and they wanted to make sure that people had a place to leave reviews, but they may not be managing it on a daily basis. Or as I said, it could just be that they are overwhelmed with everything that's happening. And do keep that in mind. In this time, especially since we are now more than a month and a half, almost to the 2-month mark, there are some people who may be super grumpy and be having some challenges, and keep that in mind with that extra patience to show them things that maybe they knew before, but they just don't remember now. And if you go to g.co/markedbusinessclose, that will also give them some temporary information as far as temporary signs or signage and description that they can utilize that will help them be able to communicate that with their customers. So now let's move into Google Ads. That was Google My Business. Now Google Ads, some people may have ads running and they've forgotten about it. So they may need to be able to pause their advertising, which is important, because maybe they have an ad that says, come in right now, or we're having this great concert or event, or we're supporting a wine tasting today, or introducing new coffee, and they've forgotten that it's there. Plus, I encourage all people, all businesses especially, who have done any Google advertising to go to look and see if they might have some ad credits available, because Google has given a lot of ad credits to small businesses who were advertising pre-COVID-19 to help them get through this rough time. Now, when they look at their ad campaigns, encourage them to look at everything. You know how it is with us when we've seen something that we're so used to seeing. Sometimes we overlook things and we don't realize, you know what, it's right there in front of us. It says, come in and visit us now. See a representative now. Sit down with us. We're available to meet with you. And that may not be the case. So it's very important to review assets and then to proactively communicate those business changes. You might want to remind them, you know, anytime you have a change to your standard operating procedure, your SOP, then that could affect something or that's customer facing, then you might want to make sure that that's being communicated. So you might actually want to do an ad to let them know, we are absolutely cleaning, we're doing social distancing, and this is how. Look at how many, you know, how far apart our tables are. So I actually had a restaurant that is on Main Street that did that. They actually showcased how they were keeping everybody apart and even Xing out some of the tables so people would not even have the opportunity to sit there. You can create helpful messages and share those via ads, so let them know that. And then also remind them to consider the context and tone. So there's great tips here. That's what we always love to do with the Google team, is to make sure not that we're just introducing it to you, but that you have the ability to see some tips on how you can update your ad campaign, and you have that resource available to share with the small businesses you serve. So again, get into the community and get this so that you can share that with them. Now, how to pause. If anybody asks you, it's not hard. They do need to go into their Google Ads account, and then they will look at the ads, and you'll see right here where you see the enabled button live in green, and you can right below it click the pause button, and that will help them pause their ad campaigns. Just click to pause and that's it. It will pause it. You can re-enable or you can go back and edit it. So maybe you want to edit and make those changes like we were talking about in the last couple of slides, and then you want to go ahead and bring it live and publish it again as an ad. So that's Google Ads. If you've got, again, any questions, again, the chat is there. I always like to make sure that I am serving you. So if you do have questions, I will respond to them verbally. I wish we could hear each other. And if I don't know the answer, I'll find someone. So the next part is your website too. Take a look at your website and look, especially for the businesses. If you contact your businesses and you're just checking on the health of the businesses that you serve, you might want to ask them, have they looked at their website lately? Have they done any updates to their website since the crisis began? So they might want to use their website to share announcements and critical information. Maybe it's not everybody, as I said before, on team, or maybe there are some new resources that they have. We've got wipes to help you to make sure you can wipe down the door handle, or maybe if you're using carts or baskets, you can wipe down and utilize that. We have extra precaution because we have masks that we're handing out. I've seen that with some of the small businesses. They'll actually hand out masks to people as they are coming into their establishment. You can also list any changes in operation. Again, anything that you would have updated in the Google My Business site or the Google My Business profile, you can update on your website itself, as well as provide any contact information, because maybe the contacts have changed, again, because you might have some people working remotely, and because schools are not in session, then they may not be the person who is forward-facing or customer-facing that needs to be connected. Maybe somebody else is serving customers in your business, and you need to let people know that too. And then more than anything, assure them. This is a scary time for everybody. We all want to go back to the norm, but we know that the norm has definitely changed. So knowing that, assure your customers, if you know, we are going to open, we are still here and we are here for you. Or we have done a lot of things behind the scenes, maybe they're going to say on the website, and let their businesses know we've done a lot of things behind the scenes, and we're making sure that online you can access this too, so that you have the great service and with the safety and precautions to make you feel comfortable. Again, share that with your businesses. And I know you have a lot of these resources already within the COVID-19 Center for your organization. But again, these are some other resources that will help small businesses. And the more that we can help and assist them, I really am in favor of as many tools as possible for people so that they can engage in whatever they want to at their comfort level. Okay. So now communicating with customers, employees, I think that's everything that I've covered earlier, but I'm going to really go into depth here to talk to you about a tool that I have fallen in love with, which is Google Meet. I don't know if you saw that, but on April 29th, Google Meet launched, and to me, it is very exciting. And why I'm so excited about it, I was sharing with Kelly before we all got in here together, is that for Mother's Day, my family is all over the U.S. because, as I said, I'm an Air Force brat. So there's family in Chicago, in Las Vegas, in San Diego, in Georgia. So we have family all over the place, and we all got together to wish my mother a wonderful Mother's Day, and we did that on Google Meet. And that to me was so exciting because we got to see everybody, we got to engage. My son, whose computer was on the fritz, he didn't get to join there. He lives out of town, but he was able to join by phone. So he quickly and easily, we were able to call out to him with a Google Meet. He joined by phone. The audio was beautiful. So to me, that's really exciting to be able to see all of the things available through Google Meet and to connect. And then what's even better is that I was able to share the video. We actually recorded the video of it because there's so many of us, you know, all online, everybody talking at the same time. It was a lot of fun, a lot of funny things happening and laughter, but you could have missed what was happening at a certain tile when it was happening. So a tile is a format or a way that it's presented where you see several people who are actually on the actual meet. And I'm sure you're familiar with it if you've seen any of the other video conferencing tools. But sometimes it's hard to see who is actually talking in what tile or what's happening in one when you're focused maybe at the top left-hand corner and some antics or shenanigans are happening in the bottom right-hand corner. But we recorded it for her and we sent the recording to her and she absolutely loved it. It was very touching. She actually had no idea that I was recording it with Google Meet. And again, she was just so amazed because now anything that she missed because she was enamored with what was happening in one tile, she got to see every single thing. So she called me crying, saying that she really thought the recording meant a lot. So that's the personal side you can use it for, but you can also use it for business. You can host and join video meetings from any device. I love it because, as I said, I've got 3 boys. I'm a boy mom, and one boy was just on the phone audio. Another was on his smartphone, so he was there and able quickly to join in. And another was actually on his tablet. So if you think about that, it's nice and easy for customers to have access to. You can host meetings up to 250 participants, and you can also record those meetings. So I love that, and those recordings are all encrypted. So what the favorite things about Google Meet is the security of it. So if you'll look down here at g.co/meet secured connections, you'll have an idea of what's available to you in Google Meets and some of the security. I like that there's no ads in there, that you definitely have strong passwords, strong encryption, strong security, because you do have to have, you are logging in and utilizing a Google tool, which Google is very good at making sure that things are encrypted and safe. It's very transparent as far as what is, what's happening with data, that there's no data collection. And again, that you don't have to worry about your information being sold or shared with anyone. So I do love all the security. Plus, if you do a recording, it is in an encrypted, very secure environment within Google Drive, which to me meant a lot because, of course, I told you before, I'm an Air Force brat. So security to me is huge, as well as to my family. There's no way they would have let me just record it and share that with them without that questioning that happened first after Grandma cried that she liked it and she enjoyed it. So let's talk about the different Meet versions. If you look here, you'll see the maximum number of participants in the free version. So even in your personal accounts, you can go and get access to 100 people all meeting together. And then you can also have access to the business side. So that's the pro side, excuse me, that is 250 people. Sorry, I took a huge breath at that moment. Tried to choke myself. So the maximum duration for a meeting is about an hour, but really there's a lot of leeway there. As you can see, you get 24 hours through September 30th, 2020. So that's a nice thing to have. And then, of course, excuse me, for business, you can have up to 300 hours. Now, I don't know about you, but I love the fact that you can have up to 300 hours for a meeting, but kill me now if I ever am sitting in a meeting that was as long as 300 hours, okay? But you have it available should you need it. You can also join via your browser or mobile app. So it's nice and easy. The free version, you cannot record it, but the business version you can. And of course, you do have the ability to access all this. Plus, you can do an in-domain live stream. And then, of course, the price per user. You see that available to you. Again, right now it's free, but try it and see if you like it. I was just so, again, totally blown away because it just came out on April 9th, 29th, and I used it this Mother's Day, and I've used it to meet with our team, but Mother's Day was definitely the stretch for me because it was so many of us. You're talking about 22 of us all across the USA. You can feel now connected and remotely. So when you're sharing this with businesses, not just with yourself, but make sure that they can feel connected and remote. They don't have to worry about downloading an app here. If they do utilize it on their phone, then there is a free Meet app that's easy for them to use. You can use it to brainstorm ideas. That is something that I am seeing differently happening, because now with COVID-19, we're all craving that human interaction. And so normally where something might have been a quick text message or a call, it's become a video call. And I've noticed that too, even with the teams that I work with, that we do a lot of check-ins in the morning just to make sure that we're all good and everybody's, it's basically that water cooler or that coffee chat time that we would have had in the break room. So you can also schedule remote client consultations. You know, your clients, as we come back in, understand that too. Your customers, the businesses you serve, and the customers that they serve are going to have different levels of comfort that they feel in engaging and talking to people face to face. It's not going to be where we just, the floodgates open, we're all allowed to go out and everybody's going to run out. We're all going to go out there at whatever our comfort level is. And again, there might be some times that you have clients who don't feel comfortable, or they have clients and they may feel like they need to do a remote consultation, so they have this in a nice secure format. And then they can also host online classes. So maybe, you know, you have somebody who is a vintage resale shop on Main Street, and they want to host an online class about how you can clean and prepare things to be able to sell at a vintage store. Or maybe they talk about their cleaning and the preparing that they do so that people feel comfortable within their store, and how maybe they've come up with a new service to be able to try different things. Again, they can teach that in online classes. It doesn't always have to be this where it's a webinar where you're learning about specific tech tools. It could be something as simple as, this is how you shop in our store nowadays. Now, how you can join Google Meet, you can do that through the Google Meet app or site. Just go to meet.google.com and you're right there. It is easy, just a click away and you're there, or you can put it within your Google Calendar and schedule a Google Meet. So let's talk first about the first option, which is the app and going online actually. So online, you don't have to worry about different apps. So if you're in a browser, you just put meet.google.com in the URL, you click join to start, and you are there. It will give you the opportunity to select the microphone, or whether or not you want the video camera on or off, or you just want to show your avatar or your face. So a picture of you. It gives you the opportunity to also do several other things. We'll talk about those more in a moment. You can also use Google Calendar. So if you're used to or gotten used to scheduling things through Google Calendar, all you'll see now when you click on and try to schedule a meeting in a day is the opportunity right there as a choice to add video conferencing. So if you click on more options, if you don't see that for any reason, if you click on more options, you could see that as well. But normally more options gives you the opportunity to put more detail into your meeting, like who are you going to invite, or what are you going to talk about? Maybe there's an agenda that you'd like to share with everyone. Then when people receive it, they will actually receive an invitation like this, which will help them put it within their Google Calendar, but they can join with Google Meet. So they can choose that. It will give them the opportunity to join online, or as I said, join by phone. And then all you have to do is click there to start the meeting. It really doesn't get much easier than that. And I know that a lot of people are getting more savvy now that they have been sheltered at home, but still it's important for them to see this, especially if they've never used Google Calendar. So make sure you're showing that to your customers and your clients you serve, just in case that's something that would be helpful to them. And this is how the meetings look. That's what I love about the meetings. They're nice, they're easy. You have the agenda right there. You have how to join. You have the ability to turn your mic on, off, your camera on or off. And then you just join now. So let's go into greater detail into those Google Meet features, like I mentioned earlier. So this is the tile version that I was talking about. This gives you a nice video. You'll see at the top right-hand corner is the ability to chat. So if you wanted to share a document, share a little piece of information out to the group, you can. You can also chat with an individual. So maybe you want to say, let's say that your cousin Tom in the top right-hand corner, and you want to say something specific to Tom because maybe he's getting ready to show the card that he made, or maybe he's ready to do a part of the presentation. I'll take it to the more professional again. I'm going back to Mother's Day just because it's so so fresh in my mind. But let's say he is going to be presenting something. So you might be giving him a heads up in the chat saying, hey, you're going to be presenting this. Make sure you cover this area because this is something we've had questions on. You can have that private conversation or you can send it out to the group. You can also see where your microphone and the video are. So in the middle, you'll see a phone. It looks like a phone receiver. That is where you can hang up on the meeting and actually come out. If you've done that by accident, then you can quickly join back in again. It's really not tough to do, even for the meeting organizer. So it does hold it for a minute so that you can jump back in and out. The microphone you can turn on or off. And again, you can turn the camera on and off depending on what you want to show. Now, what's nice also at the very bottom where you do see the microphone and the video icon as well, you'll see the meeting details. If you click on those meeting details on the left-hand corner, so it's not the one highlighted on your screen, but on the left-hand corner, the meeting details will give you the link where somebody else needs to join if they can, you want them to join, plus the phone number and the PIN code should they want to join by phone. Now on the right-hand side, you see the opportunity that you have to be able to present the meeting. So you can present either your entire screen, you can present a window of your screen, or just a Chrome tab. And sometimes I will do that, especially when I'm working with a small business and they want to see something that I'm searching. I will just bring out the Chrome tab and I will usually increase it to about 150% in the viewing so that they can see all the little typing that I do, just to make sure that they don't miss it, because sometimes when you're broadcasting things, not just on Google Meet, but on any format and platform, it's a little bit smaller to the people who are viewing it. And then you can also see that you can record the meeting. So you see lots of options there. You can start a live stream, you can change the layout, you can go full screen, you can turn captions on, you can even see the stats. So I love the settings here. I love that there's just so much functionality available to you, but you can record the meetings and those meetings are encrypted. Now also, just to keep in mind too, when you are doing this, and let me go back a slide because I do want to make sure you know that if you want to invite more people, you can use that bottom left-hand corner for the meeting details to invite them. But if you look at the very top where you see 7 right now, so you see the picture of the person who is actually leading the chat here. So they're leading the Google Meet. And then you see the little chat box where people will chat and send text messages. Then the next item over is where there is the number of participants. So you will see a 7 there. Just so that you know, you can add people. If you click on that icon, it'll allow you to add people by inviting them by email or even calling them out by phone. So that's kind of handy to have right there, and you don't have to worry about fumbling with a lot of different devices about texting somebody the meeting information. You can, though, make sure that you are ready for when you're on there. So make sure you tell this to your customers. Look what's behind you, everyone. Look what's behind you. We've all seen also the silly video conference where somebody's going to the bathroom or the boyfriend's coming out with a towel wrapped around them. So make sure you're looking at everything that's behind you, especially if they're sheltered at home and they're operating business from home and they may not really understand or see what's behind them, or maybe they've gotten really good at clearing a space for that. But remind them. Also choose a neutral background if you can. Sometimes that's less distracting to the people who are watching. An external microphone always gives you better quality. Just so that you know, I do have a microphone within all the systems I use, but I'm using an external microphone today so that you can hear me. And I normally do that whenever I am doing an online presentation, just because I know it does amp up the sound quality, and you being able to, as far as the participants, being able to hear and see is very important. And then also you can mute the microphone when you're not speaking. Keep this in mind. This is good practice, not just for the businesses that you teach, but for yourself. If you are not the speaker on a presentation, but they still want to keep it engaging and give the people opportunity to ask questions, then mute yourself. If you're not speaking, always mute yourself. And then solid color clothing always looks better on a camera. It's just that nice neutral. So again, with Gmail, let's talk a little bit what you can do with Gmail to keep customers informed, and your customers can do this too. They can set their out of office response. So there's an auto response within Gmail. If you see at the top right-hand corner, you'll see a gear and you'll see the settings. If you'll click on the settings, then what you'll get to do is click on and go to the settings. When you do that, you'll be able to change those general settings and to be able to update a vacation responder. So it doesn't say that you're on vacation. You can come up with the subject. So maybe it's the store closed and online is open, and you can go through some of the frequently asked questions that people may have when they're trying to reach out to you. Again, the things that we can do for our clients to help them make it easy for their customers to do business with them, these are just shortening those steps. So you're actually being a champion for them in sharing this information. Make sure you save the changes, always save, and that is how you can use Gmail. Now you can also access files from everywhere. So this is a part of working remotely. My favorite, another favorite part of the Google tools is Google Drive, because everything is there in the cloud, easily accessible from a phone or any device. You can upload and download files in other formats. So I can upload Excel or Word, it will come into Google Docs or Google Sheets. I can upload PowerPoints and they're in Google Slides. So there's a tool for everything there, and you can share those slides. What I love about that is you get to share those slides with people, and you get to see if they've made any edits or changes. You can also decide at what level you want them to be able to do things. Are they just viewing things? Are they having the opportunity to edit or the opportunity to comment? So all of that is what you have at your control when you do share files with people. And then also you can access those files, as I said, anywhere, and you can edit the files even when you're offline. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. So as I said, you can upload any type of slot file into Google Drive, and you can organize those files for easy access. There's also templates in there, which is nice because let's say you're charged with keeping meeting minutes or coming up with the agenda. It's already built in there. You can choose from the template gallery, all these different free templates to be able to apply, and you don't have to worry about building up these tools themselves. So you can find out more if you go to g.co/drive/upload. It'll actually walk you through how to upload files into Drive. You can have somebody, again, they can share it, they can view it, they can edit it. You can add comments, so they can add comments saying, are we sure we want to already talk about Wendy Ryder's replacement? You can decide who you want to share it with, at what level, or maybe you want to utilize a shareable link and make it accessible to everybody at the same level. It really is your call, but you have that kind of autonomy to make the decision of, I want to share it with everybody at this level, or only with Pam and Randy at this level, and only with Brian and Jake at this level. You also can share access to different groups. That was what I was just talking about. So you can see the different levels that you can set for people right here, depending on groups or even as granular as individuals. And you can access this from a mobile device, which is often what I like to do if I'm waiting at an office for somebody, or a doctor's office, or even I'm on a plane or traveling even in a car, because I do live in a remote area within West Texas, so we drive everywhere. And it's nice to be able to have this access when I'm the passenger, to just be able to do things even if I don't have mobile access or cell phone access. You can turn it so that you do have that offline access. Again, that's only specific to the device you're using, but when you get back online, it will update everything. But you can work away if you're, again, in a plane, or you're someplace which doesn't have good service, or as I was saying, traveling out in a rural area where it's very limited service. You can make sure that you have access to your files, still work with them, and then they'll update everything when you connect back online. So some of the next steps that you can take, and this you can share with the small businesses you serve, is to, number one, share with them to update their Google My Business information. This is critical to do this, because people are looking and finding things online, and you want them to be prepared, and you don't want to give them the wrong impression that you're open, just same business as usual if things have changed. Prepare them ahead of time, and they will be grateful for that. Also, let your businesses know and remind them to modify or pause ads, because again, that just may not be top of mind for them right now. Also, in that same reminder, remind them to update the website info, because again, we see these two things are the things that mostly get forgotten, just because other things are urgent at this moment. Then also do encourage and show them how to use Google Meet. I encourage you to use it yourself. Once you use it, you're going to be a fan. I'm just telling you now, so give it a try. I'd love to hear your feedback after you've used it and how you used it. I love to hear those creative ways, but you can use it even for meetings and check-ins, just to make sure that your team, and especially the team of entrepreneurs that you work with, feel connected to their team. You may want to do it yourself. If a lot of people are not within their shops and stores on Main Street right now, maybe you want to host a Google Meet for all of the clients you serve and cover this with them about pausing their ads or updating their website information. And again, all of this, the slide deck resides in the Google Partner community. Also update Gmail Vacation Responder if that has changed. There's nothing more frustrating and to me a little bit unnerving when you are trying to reach somebody and they don't respond to their email, and it could just be that, you know, they're out. They've been sheltered at home. They don't have access depending on how their business is set up or their company's set up, and they don't have a way to respond. So if you can help people set that up and walk that through for them, their customers will appreciate that. And then you can store especially shared files in Drive, making it a whole lot easier to work offline and to work remotely without everybody wondering, you know, who has the latest version or what version is of this. You see all of that. It's really nice. You can see what the latest version is. You can even revert back to an earlier version. And what I love about utilizing Drive is anytime you just stop in there, you're using and you're typing away, it automatically saves. You don't have to physically remember, save this. Some of the resources that I talked about today, let's make sure that we've got those. Those are all right here. A lot of times I tell people, this is the money slide. If you want to take a screenshot of anything, you would do it. That's what you could tell your customers as well. The cool thing is you do have access to this within the partner community. So you can absolutely share this slide with them. All right, so in here, it is about if they're learning, for example, just how to use and be able to work more remotely, we have everything available here. Plus, if you've never used Google Primer, so the Primer is actually available on a mobile device, so you need to use it on your Android or iOS, your iPhone. But if you go to Primer and download it, it's a free app. I love to use it to, even though my expertise and my my degree is in marketing and several levels of marketing. I love it because it stays on top of what's happening in marketing now, and you can have snippets and little business and marketing management courses available that's 100% free. So I'd encourage you to try it and share it with your clients. But this to me is the playlist within Google Primer that's so helpful for them, is to be able to make sure that they're making their work from home as effective as possible, because that's really key. A lot of people, this is their first time and they're still struggling with how to organize things and how to do things in a way that doesn't feel like they're reinventing the wheel every single day. Of course, you'll see the guide on how to host virtual events. This tool, if you've not utilized this tool with your businesses, I encourage you to, because it lets businesses know they can put in the name of their business or their website address, and they either can say whether they're online and offline, so they have an online presence plus they have a storefront, or if they're just online only, and it will take them through all the best practices and what they need to look at to make sure that they're taking advantage of all the free resources that Google has available to them. So that's one of my favorite sites too. Of course, checking for ad credits, any updates on what's happening with small business, you can take a look at this here, any best practices with small businesses. And of course, anytime you want to learn anything more, you can go to google.com/grow, or your customers can, and you yourself can use the partner community to do that. Again, I want to thank you today. I didn't see any questions coming forth, so I'm hoping everybody's okay out there, but I want to make sure that I'm available to answer questions for you, and I am here for you. Kelly, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to work with your team and to share with them some of the latest updates that they can share with their customers.
Oh, absolutely. And we are so grateful for your partnership and your presentation today, because I think there are a few good questions that have come up. And just some great responses that this webinar was extremely helpful. So thank you again on behalf of all the folks that are chatting that in.
Wonderful.
I did have some questions earlier in the program, and I didn't want to jump in and interrupt, but going back to thinking about the accounts creation and usage for Google My Business, the question came in: if I created the Google Business with my personal account and give my business account permission as owner, can I take the personal account off?
Yes, if you give your Google account, so if you have one account, your personal account, and you want to switch that over, what you would do is give it access, and then you can, once they have access, you can give them access actually as showing you the different roles. You can give them access as primary owner. So then you would actually come off as primary owner. As owner, you would still be there, because as at the owner role, they can't shut you out or shut you down. They just can add additional people. But they don't completely take you off. If you want to be completely taken off, they would be named as primary, or the account that you want it to be in would be named as primary owner.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for that. I just wanted to also ask a question. Sorry, another, this is very helpful comment came in.
Oh, good.
Is Google Meet and kind of the advantages in the and the different formats of Google Meet available for Google for Nonprofits members?
I believe it is, but let me double check that and make sure I get back with you, Kelly. But I believe it is available to everyone. And I know it is available through the personal account even. But let me double check that just so that I'm solid on that answer, okay? And I can get back with you, Kelly. If you could get that to the person who asked, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. And now, another question that had come in that's very specific about Google Meet, and I know it's a new product, but have you heard anything about Google Meet getting grid view for tablets on iOS specifically?
I know exactly what you're talking about. So had I not been through this Mother's Day experience, I would be a little bit not sure, but I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the Chrome extension, which is Meet Grid. And yes, it's not available for iOS yet. I don't know if it's in development. Understand that many of the Google team also is working remotely, and I'm not sure where it's at on the product map or if it is, but I can definitely check on that. So what the person who's asking the question is referring to, there is a Chrome extension which gives you the opportunity to not just look at tile view, but you can look at grid, Meet Grid, and you can, it'll bring up everybody and you can decide whether or not you want it to just show everybody who is talking or everybody who has a video. So maybe the people who aren't on a phone, you don't want to show that, but in that tile view, it can bring up to, you can have 50 people, on up from there, and you can even highlight and have a little box show around the speaker who's speaking if you want to. I will tell you personally, when I utilized that and Mother's Day, having that little highlighted box travel around was a little overwhelming. I actually ended up turning it off, but I love that the Meet Grid was there because you could see everybody, again, well into the 20s and 22 numbers. So that is an extension, but I don't know about the development on iOS or iPhone or tablet or iPad. So I will check on that as well.
Wonderful. So another question, this is not something that we covered in the program, so it could be, again, something we might want to follow up on if that's the circumstance. But I just wanted to make sure to ask it in. One of our managers, Christina, has chatted that she heard about Google mobility reports, where Google is kind of cultivating data of what businesses people are using and what kind of locations people are frequenting in this circumstance. How can folks access those? And again, if it's not something we have right off the top, maybe we can follow up on it.
Absolutely. I would appreciate if we could follow up on that because I'm really not sure on the latest, so I would need to check on that.
Yeah, but absolutely. Very interesting information for tracking consumer trends right now. So we'll definitely get back to you, Christina, on that. Sure. Another question from Jody. She can't remember if she created the Google business page for her business or not. Are they automatically generated if a customer or a business owner doesn't create it themselves?
Sometimes they are because it's not that it's automatic, but sometimes it's because maybe an employee put you on there or a customer wanted to leave somebody a review, or they checked in at a place, maybe not even your place, it was next door, but they thought it was they thought the address was here, so they did that. All of a sudden it generates a profile, and that needs to be claimed or verified. So in that case, if you'll go to google.com/business, so that's google.com/business, what you'll do is start typing in your business name or your company name, and then what will happen is you'll see a drop down appear. It will showcase every business with that name all across the US. So you have to be really sure that you choose the one that's within your city or community. If it's not there, then you're not there. You're not online, but you can put it in. Now you start typing in your actual name. If you are there, choose it, and then you would verify and claim that. So how you verify and claim that is just verifying all the information, and then a postcard will be sent to you to be able to verify that. That postcard, because it is during the crisis, is now taking about 2 weeks to get to you, but it is mailed to you. So they do mail it out. It has a code in there, which is a security code verifying that you are there at that business, and you would enter that in once you receive that. But you would need to go through and double check that your information is correct in there before you ask to have that verification mail postcard sent to you. Do know it does not look like a postcard. It looks more like a W-2, perforated both sides. Some people confuse it with direct mail pieces, but it is where the security and confirmation to verify your Google My Business profile resides.
Wonderful. Well, those are some extra details that I wouldn't have thought to even ask. So I really appreciate questions from our audience so that we can make sure everything is clear to you. I want to point out Again, that the handout is available in the handout section. We have reported the program and we'll post it on our COVID-19 resource page so you can come back to it. But really, obviously, Maria pointed you to a lot of resources that you're able to access at any time, both at the beginning of the program, specifically for managing your districts, as well as throughout for your businesses. So please do kind of go back, click through those things, and feel free to offer this content to everyone that you're working with trying to promote their businesses. It certainly goes a long way to help. And Maria, I want to thank you again for being here. This was really, really helpful to make sure that we're all the most up to date that we can be.
Thank you, Kelly. I'm greatly honored, and I appreciate being able to work with you today. Again, I hope it's helpful, and thank you, Kelly.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you on our next program. Reminder, there is another program for the COVID-19 resources on Thursday regarding design in the COVID-19 crisis. We hope to see you there, and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.